terms of New Zealand, because I know that you know quite a bit of coming from New Zealand yourself, that's sort of a story or an experience of going from a militarised society, moving into a nuclear weapons-free country. And if you could sort of talk us through those issues that New Zealand faced, going through those dynamics internally, and how that began, and what the government, especially the government's role in that those sort of changes.
Yeah, well, you're quite correct. New Zealand was a very militarised society. We were involved in virtually every war that we could get into. The Boer War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the First World War, the Second World War, the Malaya incident. Yeah, we would join them all. Okay. And our own society was quite militaristic. We had our own wars in there. We had the land wars back in the 1800s. Okay. And yeah, it's quite a militarised.
So history.
And we were a very strong part of the ANZUS alliance, Australia, New Zealand and the United States. And we welcomed nuclear weapons into our ports. We supported the nuclear testing in the Pacific. But then what there was, in a sense, a public education initiative about nuclear weapons, what their destructive impact would be if they were used on cities, and what their destructive impact was in the testing. And we saw deformed babies and stillbirths and the horror from the nuclear tests. And that's during peacetime, hundreds of miles from populations, how much more devastating it would be during war. So gradually New Zealanders start saying, look, these nuclear weapons are inhumane, they're illogic, you know, that having a nuclear weapon doesn't protect you, it actually makes you a target for the nuclear weapons of the other side. So we have to say no to nuclear weapons. So we did that, and as a result of that, the United States was not very happy, of course, said, well, okay, this ANZUS, our military alliance, is no longer operable. So New Zealand had to rethink its idea of security. I mean, we had been thinking of security as military security, where you protect yourselves by having a big defence, and if you can't have your own big defence and you have a bigger guy, you know, your big brother, who can come and help you. And in fact our big brother had come and helped us. I mean, when Japan was coming down in the Second World War, they were about to attack Australia, pretty close to New Zealand, and the United States basically saved us. So we had a historical backing for that. So we had to go, oh dear, we have to think of a new way now of providing for security in situations like that. So we turned very much to the United Nations, and looking at the United Nations as a much stronger mechanism. Well, it wasn't even in existence in the Second World War, as a mechanism that could be used to solve conflicts with other countries, to address the issues of aggression. You know, that there is a possibility within the United Nations to do that. So we turned very much to that, and we also turned to the idea of supporting UN peacekeeping operations. So New Zealand changed its military to fit in more with the UN peacekeeping, and not so much with working with a coalition, the United States coalitions.